This is Ussher Fort. Ussher Fort was built by the British, but then it was not the older fort that was built here. The first fort was built by the Dutch in 1649, called Fort Crevecoeur. That particular fort was served as a trade post. When you say trade post, what kind of trading? Barter trade. Exchange of goods without money. That was the reason why the fort was built. But then the Dutch was not the first Europeans to arrive in Gold Coast. Portuguese were the first. By history, 1471. They have arrived in Gold Coast to trade with us. What did they brought to us? They gave us mirror to exchange with gold.
What?
Mirror, common mirror.
Mirror, yeah,
to exchange with gold, because our ancestors don't know the value of gold. So the Europeans look at us and said, look, these people has lacked something. What did they lack? They lack mirror. They don't have seen mirror before. By history, our ancestors will fetch water in calabash and see their face truth. Make life difficult for them. So when the European brought the mirror, they embrace it and give the gold out. Then, not only that, they gave us gun and gunpowder. Our people were relying on bows and arrows for hunting. So Europeans brought gun and gunpowder. And you and I can believe that gun or bullets travel faster than bows and arrows. Based on those ideologies, they accepted the gun. They also gave us alcohol. Alcohol, by history, after our traditional leaders took the alcohol, they are no more in their right sense. So what happened was that they demand for more in replace of gold. So in nutshell, we are all part of the mistake that took place 500 years ago. Now, this thing was ongoing until the arrival of the Dutch. Every Europeans were rushing towards Africa because they have found something valuable in Africa. Now, in the year 1482, the first castle, the bigger castle, was built by the Portuguese, called St. George's Castle or Elmina Castle in Elmina. The Dutch also arrived. The Germans also arrived. The Germans, they built Fort Fredericksburg with the same trading. Then the Swiss also came. The French also came. Denmark, they also came, and the British were the last to arrive in Gold Coast. From Christianborg, Ussher Castle, it was built by the Danes. Fort Augustabo in Vichy was built by the Danes. Fort Vernon, Ningo, was built by the Danes. Fort Fredericksburg in Pram was built by the Danes, and Fort Princeton in Keta. So the eastern part was captured by Denmark. Now, when you come to Accra, we have Dutch Accra and English Accra. So all the Ussher town here was given to the Dutch because they were dominating here before the arrival of the British. When you go to James Fort, the James, King James II, who named that particular town called James, he said, name it after my name. That's how come the name today, it is still mentioned Jamestown. Now, this trading was ongoing. We have 80 forts and castles built by Europeans. Ask yourself, what did they want from Africa? From Keta to Azim in the western region, there were 80 plus, but today 28 of this fortification still survive, just because of the sea erosion. And also the first earthquake that took place in Gold Coast along the coastal belt, that is in 1850. Now, this was ongoing until 1670. That was transatlantic slave trade began. What brought the slave trade? Americans placed a very high demand. They discovered that their lands were so much fertile for plantation, hence they need skilled labor. Since other Europeans who came earlier, they realized that, wow, the major occupation of our ancestors was farming and fishing. So these were the right people who were supposed to go to America. Another business come to the table. So let's switch from buying tobacco, timber. Instead of buying that, let's go for human being. So what did they use to bought our ancestors? Exchange human being with a bottle of alcohol. Exchange human being with clothes. Exchange human being with gun and gunpowder. When we talk about the West Africa slave trade region, not only in Gold Coast, but Ghana was the largest departure of the slaves to South America, Caribbean, and North America. Why? The reason of the fort and castle, I'll give one reason, that was the barter trade. Then the second reason was the slave trade. So all the Europeans came purposely for something variable in Gold Coast, Ghana. Now, most of the ivory has been taken from Ivory Coast. That's how they named it Ivory Coast. All the way from Togo, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Niger, Nigeria, Guinea, wherever they captured the slaves, they marched them all the way to Ghana, kept them in the forts and castle dungeon underground, whereby there's no lighting system. Most of them lost their sight. By history, you must be there until wait for the slave ship. So when you go to where the fishing harbor is, it was first built by the British in 1927. Now, before the British, the slave trade was ongoing, which is 1617 transatlantic slave trade. Every European now engaged into slave trading, and they have been led by the blacks, we ourselves, where they can get human beings to capture. So we are also part of our predicament, not only the European. Even though they brought the idea, we did the action for them. This torture was ongoing, humiliation was ongoing, atrocity was ongoing until the arrival of the British. When the British came, we saw them like Messiah. They came to establish the abolishment law. That was the bond of 1844, which was signed in Cape Coast Castle by George McLean with the Ashanti chiefs. After signing the bond, by history, Demas, or the Deans, were the first to abolish the slave trade with 30,000 blacks captured in their entire trading era. After the abolishment, the British took over from the Dutch in 1868, and they decided to build Ussher forts. After the colonial, after the abolishment of the slave trade, the European slave merchants now left. Now the British took over, and we supported them because they have the superpower to fight the slave trade. Now when they took over, they are the West. Why? They ruled us for 292 years. If somebody suppressed you for 292 years, tell me, he has taken a lot from you. Today I can tell you by history, England did not have any mining pits. Where did they got all the gold and diamond? They catch underground. It's from us, Africa. And we have to get them today before they can borrow an underground. And we are suffering to do what the generation have to enjoy. They are now begging. Now, the British took over. They were ruling us until the arrival of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Nkrumah came here to negotiate with the British. In 1950, by the history, we got arrested by the British. Why? This man came to fight against the British. He wanted independent land. Nkrumah was invited by a political party called United Gold Coast Convention. He realized it wasn't serious to do the independence, so he broke out of that party to form a political party called CPP. So it was out of CPP he formed a committee called the Big Six. When Nkrumah was arrested in Ussher Fort, he was imprisoned in James Fort. So when you go to James Fort, you see Nkrumah's bed. His prison is underground, dungeon. Nkrumah slept there for 1 year. He would poo beside himself. You know, they fed him through the first floor. He don't go out. He was in the darkness for 1 year. So it was out of prison he became the first prime minister of this nation, where others were fighting against the freedom of this nation. 21st March 1952, the British granted him the first prime minister seat. 6th March 1957, the independence was granted to him. Then in 1960, he became the head of state. He sacked the British. After sacking the British, he also took over. He used the same structure here as the first police station and the first prison of the city of Accra. Remember, Accra was not the first capital colonial city of Gold Coast, Ghana. It was Cape Coast. After the British were gone, the city was brought out of Accra. Now, many prominent people of this nation go through this place as a prisoner. We have a political condemned cell. Our late President Rawlings was once a prisoner here. Our former President Kufuor was a prisoner here. Dr. Nyahu Ntamapro was a prisoner here. Kwesi Pratt was a prisoner here. BJB Land, all the big six, they all go through this place as a prisoner. Captain Su, all of them, they all go through here as a prisoner. So when we talk about Ghanaian history, you can't leave Ussher Fort. Ussher Fort is the history of Ghana, for that matter. So in the year 1993, the late President Rawlings moved the prisoners from here to the South prison of Ghana. And here become a historical site. In the year 2004, the same fort served as a refugee camp. There was a war in South Sudan, a region called Darfur. Many Sudanese came down to Ghana and they were kept here by Kufuor. In 2005, the second civil war led by General Chastela in Liberia, Many Liberians also descend down to Ghana. This was where they were kept. Till 208, they were moved to here to Budun Ground. It was the same spot. So, in the same structure, we have execution room. How execution was done to most of our people who gone through here as a condemned prisoner. When we talk about condemned prisoner, people who committed crime like murder and ritualists. Remember, we are still practicing the British court law system today in Ghana. One of their laws states that when you committed such crime, you must put to death. Until Kufuor came to power 2001, he amended the law. So Ghana stopped practicing that law all the way 2001. We are going to talk. If you have any question, you ask. No question, let's kick off. Well, this was the write-up all the way from the Sudanese 2004. UNESCO said no one should paint the wall, neither to wipe it off. So the write-up you are seeing is from 2004. Now we are entering into political prison where most of the militants were kept over here as well. When you come to political condemned cell, by history that was recorded, 5 politicians were kept in one cell. There is a shackle over here. This shackle was meant to the stubborn one who is going through death penalty. Those one will be placed in shackle and torture will be ongoing until they speak the truth before they will be put to death. Now, in 1993, the late President Rawlings moved the prisoners over here. All this write-up on the wall was done by the late prisoners who moved from here in 1993. Someone wrote on the wall, "In God we trust, always expect the unexpected. Better be late than mistaken." He did not add his name. When you come here, someone also drew the third eye with so many write-up in it, which is telling you that in a prison, the only person you can talk to was the wall. You don't talk to anybody but the wall. Let's proceed. Well, in Ghana, we don't need 3 types of religion. We have Christian religion, Islamic, and that of the traditional religion. Even though they are Christians, they all belong to religion. Someone drew the image of Christ. I said, the living God. He is crying for help. He knew that in this prison, the only penalty was death. Everybody is committed. This is Islamic condemned prisoner who wrote this. Inshallah. I said, only Allah they can do. So they are, all shall pass. These are political writers. They were in the group, but one picture, all shall pass. United we stand, peace and love, talking about togetherness in this condemned cell. Top in town. This is a writer that spoke about pain, sorrow, and agony. He said, I know I will die. Why won't I be happy before the days of my execution? These were the thoughts that ran through the mind of our people until they were executed over here. But the toleration of hope. Okay. During the British era till now. And so this was where our people learned trade. Those who go through the carpentry skill, they learn it over here. And then the entrance you pass from wasn't the main entrance. Whatever the prisoners, the craft they display over here, like table, that of the stool, they display it outside. People who are passing by can buy. And that was how they were able to generate their revenue to cook food for the prisoners. Seems to be an atrocity to humanity, but what can we do as blacks? Well, during the British era, they made sure or they forced our people to bath outside. So the whole of this stretch was a bathhouse to the prisoners. Well, if you watch carefully on the wall, you could still trace the shower pipes over here. So they'll be outside there watching the nakedness of our people. Still, we are blacks, so we must stand and fight. We must love ourselves first, so that this mistake shouldn't repeat again. Let's proceed. A female prisoner will wash her clothes to the British officials. So every cleaning, ironing was done over here. This was their toilet facility.
Everything that is telling me
Yes. So here you have to squat and face each other whilst you poo-poo. So this is how it is before you do it. So still they'll be there watching you. It is not privacy, no privacy in the British prison. So what is that? You poo-poo, you don't have the opportunity to flush. You are not in your house. If there is a poo-poo in it, you have to add your own to it until all the pits were full. Those are the instructions that was given to the prisoners all the way from the British era to the Fourth Republic in 1993. Well, this was the water reservoir that was channeled all the way through the pit into the sea. Well, let's proceed. The same people humiliated us believe in God. This was the British church.
So they were Christians?
Yes. They were Christian. Wow. They brought the Bible. They didn't come as a traditionalist. They came as a Christian. Now, there is something historical in Nkrumah display in this particular prison. Even though his wife is from Egypt, but he himself is a Christian. The reason why the Muslim and the Christian in Ghana, there's a very great unity. Everything starts from this particular prison. You might ask me why. You can't go to any country. You see church opposite to mosques. Never. Sharing the same corridor. It's a lie. Do your research. Now, Nkrumah decided to build mosques to our brother Muslims who are prisoners through this place. What he does over here was to create unity among others. So today, Muslims who marry Christians, Christians who marry Muslims in Ghana. And that is why we have peace in Ghana, nothing. But this is what made us together. The prisoners. They fed them twice a day, but not condemned prisoner got the chance to eat with the normal prisoners. A condemned prisoner is going through execution, so they fed him inside the cell. These people, something little that they can eat, not like to eat like you are in your own house, never. Something small that can survive. So if you come here, one will ask where the food has been prepared. This is the whole British kitchen. Well, over here was the sink. Because of the number of people that has been happened over here, this were the sink. You stand here and wash. If it gets down, you have to go inside and wash. By history, they chalk all the bottom with sticks. After they finish washing, they rinse, they will remove the sticks, and then this is the channel all the way into the sea. Well, this was a grinding stone, and they call it blender, where they ground pepper, vegetable, everything over here. This was where the fire was set. So if you watch up, you will see the black carbons from the smoke of the firewood. This was the oven, the British oven, where they bake pastries, bread, everything for themselves. This was the storage where now, out of the political prison, this is civilian condemned. Or I say civilian like me. In the history, in 1992, 10 people were kept in one cell. These were the people going through execution, irrespective of who they are. They don't deserve any good condition. So, you could see the shackles on the floor. These shackles were meant for human beings, not for dogs. What happened here was that those who were suffocated or who cannot breathe, what happened was that they chained them. They will sit on the floor. Just air they need to breathe. A day will commence for execution. Our people gone through this as well. I spoke about the older fort called Fort Crobico. There is something I want you to have a look at. This particular structure, they use stone or rock to build it. And it's 377 years old this year. Over here, the line is a shell that they crashed from the sea to build this particular structure. Even though it has been under attack with the first earthquake in 1850, we still have a portion of this particular fort. The Dutch used this fort to deal with the slave trade. That is how come the Salaga market, when you cross the road, is a slave market, where most of the northerners from the Salaga, they marched them all the way down to Accra, where they kept them over there for sale. So anytime the slave merchants arrive, they always go there to buy human beings. They don't buy human beings with money. They exchange human beings with items like alcohol, gun and gunpowder, clothes. Even our own parents were the cause of this predicament. Why? When you go to James Fort, there's a tunnel that go underground from the lighthouse to Ussher for James Fort. In there, your mother can even tell you, go and pick something for me from Obroni in the fort. The moment you go there, they will capture you. You are a slave. Your mother has already sold you out. So we are the cause of our own predicament, not only the Europeans. People, because of poverty, a lot of people show their children, thinking that, okay, they are going to work in America, they will return. The same thing happened in 2006, where a lot of Ghanaian females traveled from here to Qatar. When they got there, they seized their passport, they sold them into prostitution. So we have so many forms of what? A slave trade. So we need to advocate. Okay. So over here, this is a normal prison which was built for our people who committed normal crimes like stealing and assault. So over here, 18 cell down, 18 cell upstairs. In 1992, 20 people were recorded in one, which tells you that in this block contained 720 people. In the evening, yes. In the evening, 10 people slept on the main floor, 10 people stood up while sleeping. The next day, those who slept will now run shit. This was the record they put before we came. But today, Ghana, when you go to Ghana main prison, it's worse than the British prison. Why? Because of growing population, and there is no death penalty in Issaoun prison. So a cubicle like this in Issaoun prison contains 35 people, and the cost, the high cost of living and that of death penalty become very high. A cannel is an explosive device, more or less like gun. This was what the Dutch used to fight against the British ship. And they were able to pave through to build a fort called Fort Amsterdam. They used 48 cannonball to blast that particular Fort Cromarty in Abaze when going to Cape Coast. The same thing over here, but in 1868, the British has a very powerful ammunition to defeat the Dutch over here. So this thing, they will load it with a metal ball, with a gun and gunpowder over here. The moment they light through this place, it will travel. Remember, 500 years ago, the only means of transportation was by the sea. So this thing was placed towards the sea direction. Anytime their enemies are coming, then they started firing them. Even among the Europeans, they fought against themselves just because of Africa gold. This was the place where the sites condemned prisoners for death. So let's move. No admittance except on duty, which meant that dangerous people were kept at the top. If an inmate moved from prison 1 week and he's not coming back, which means something might happen to him. So when you get to some of them, they are tense, they begin to wrestle with the prison officers that I will not enter this room. And that person have to be in shackle for purpose of the no food. When he become weak, before they drag him to the door. Let's go to the house of the Lord. Well, these are the remains of the shackles where a condemned prisoner was placed in shackle, whereby a professional psychologist will stood there citing him based on death, telling him that when you die, it's even better to be dead. The moment they say that to you, they have already prepared you towards death. So after citing them, they don't go back to their prison, but rather they kept them in there, waiting for the time that they will be put to death. Please. Final prison over here. All the rooms have shackles. Why? The moment you tell somebody, I'm going to kill you, the person will be so much aggressive. So what it does was that after preparing them for death, they will place them in shackles. So a prison officer will come and open and mention names, whereby you cannot attack. Well, this was done, and anytime execution day comes, it was 4 people at a time. So they will mention them from the room 1 to room 4. These 4 people will move to the execution room. Let's proceed. Today, Thursday, they are going to kill people or condemn some people. So these people, after they mention their name, they'll be placed here. These were the people going through execution today. Then the executioner will be in the execution room. Communicate to the one in charge here. The next person should come. So right away from here, we are going to execution room. If anybody who wants to do poo, they don't allow you to go down. This is a small room. Then you have a chamber, wooden chamber, you put inside, and prisoner officer will dispose it in the sea. This was done all the way from the British era to the 4th Republic in 1993, and they move from here to its own prison. If you have any question, the floor is open. Ask question as much as you can. No question, let's go to the execution room. Well, there's one prayer irrespective of our, we are betrayed. Excuse me if I didn't mention it, and also libation, that is alcohol. So those traditional food has been performed here during the War Festival, and they also shot guns over here, honoring those people who were warriors who gone through here as well. Now, can we pray irrespective of our religion? Father, you can please. Amen. Most of execution over here that was practiced through the British time to the 4th Republic was 2. Hanging. So when we walked up, you could see the trace of an iron that was removed. A gallows bit tied on it, a timber board across the pit. You stand on it with a full shackle, and then the moment they work the gallows with you remove the board underneath. You fell into the pit. Begin to wrestle with the rope. By history, many people were weary. After they die, you will place them in the water, cleanse them before burial, except Muslims. They also does what we call mass burying. And mass burying was when they dug a very big hole and placed everybody in, which was done in Ussher cemetery by the history narration. Now, from the 3rd Republic to the 4th Republic, they decided that, look, a lot of people stranded before they died. Why can't we go by electrocution with a very high voltage? So what they did was they fill the whole pit with water, and then immerse the condemned prisoner in the water, electrify the water. And our former president before witnessed it, so some of this history, he also passes on to us as well, when he was brought down by a political party. So we don't have to go deep to that as well. Let's go. This was the main entrance. Now we are done with the history of prison colonialism, that of refugees over here. We are now heading towards Fort Jericho by the slaves. If you have any question on this, no question, no question. That is something very simple. I don't want to stress you. Well, this one coming from the front decks as well.
I know, I feel the same way.
Well, this is the remain of Tropical. So you could see it's a different from the other one, which is because they have a suffer, they don't want to repeat towards civilization. But this place was civilization a lot more. Well, the fort was quite big, but because of the sea erosion number one and the earthquake, everything wiped away. So this is the remain that we are seeing. And by the history and archaeological research, the slave gantry happened to be underground, where anytime the slave ships were passing by history they will stop 2 kilometers away from the port. The reason is that the density of the water must be equal to the ship. So if the ship comes here, it will sink. So what they do is that they use the local canoe boat and then transport our people to the bigger ship. That was the transport. So they walk the slave all the way down to this particular room. This room is called negotiation chamber. So over here, the merchant will sit down. The price is also that's what we call branding to our people. They will cut a metal, perforated it with the one who owns the slaves, put it into fire to mark them. This thing has been done for easily identification of whom this slave belongs to, because we are all going to join one big slave ship to South America, Caribbean. So how are you going to trace your people? Assuming you are buying 100 slaves, somebody is buying 200, somebody is buying 150. They are all both female and male, and they are blacks. How are you going to identify them? It's going to be difficult. So they decided to bring this strategy of branding. So my name is Smith. I'll perforate the metal with my name, Smith, put it into fire to mark the slave, so that my name will appear on the body of the slaves, so that I can easily sell them for sale. The slavery took place. But we are the largest departures of the slaves to the South America, Caribbean, and North America. Now, all the slaves are being captured through this place to all the countries. But Ghana is a major departure of them. So when they captured somebody from Togo, Benin, all the countries, they brought them down to Ghana, because the business is in Ghana. Yeah, so at first they call Ghana as in all the African countries. So everybody wants to come to Ghana. Even the year of return, 2019, you will see the black diaspora, they all return back. Even though their forefathers were not from Ghana, but they were kept here before final departure. So a lot of them thought they are Ghanaian. They are not Ghanaian, not all. So we supply manpower to Americans. They use our people to work on sugarcane farm, tobacco, silver, and cotton farm. After the raw material, they ship the raw material to the Europeans. Europeans were more industrialized. They'll now manufacture this as a final goods, bring it back to Africa. Then they'll take our gold off back to themselves. Ivory from Ivory Coast to them. This was the transaction. Today the Obroluwa we are wearing is from them. What do we supply to them? We give everything to them, the gold, the raw gold, everything. It is still happening. Even though today we are somehow wise, we will not exchange gold with mirror. But 500 years ago, mirror was also special to our people. Unlike today, we exchange gold with VAT. Car is a necessity, trust me, but it's a scrap. They can crash and that ends it. Likewise, mirror. So it's the same foundation. Why can't we build company and manufacture golden ring, golden necklace, and then make the European come and buy and make more money? Well, this is the first castle built by the Portuguese in 1482. Almina Castle was now the largest castle so far. Now, in 1642, the Dutch invaded the castle. Everybody is fighting his brother. And they decided to build the same church on top of the slave dungeon. This was the door of no return. When you go to Cape Coast, it is there. Some of the forts and castles that is still existing in Ghana. When we say the general, we're also here. These are the evidence to prove Fort Fredericksburg, Princess Town, Western region, it is still there. Fort Apollonia, the British built this one in Benin, Western region.
Still there.
Fort St. Calvin, the Dutch, Almina, it is. But later on, the British also continued. It is still there. Fort Orange was built by the Dutch, seconded back in 1640, it is still there. Fort Christian, it was built by Danes, Denmarks, in my village, Keta. So in this writer, we could see until the lion has a historian, the hunter will always be a hero. Who is the lion in this issue? Who is the hunter? Europeans, they are the hunter. They came to steal from us. And we, the blacks, are the lion. If we cannot write our own history, we expect them to write it for us. They will polish it to suit themselves, not us. At the end of the day, they will be a hero. And what is happening today in America, they don't teach slave history in America in entire Europe. What are they doing to us? They are trying to kill the history. So if we, the victim, as Africa, we are not able to share, educate people, the history will die. And that is why it's necessary for every African or Ghanaian to visit all the historical sites, learn what happened to us, so that this mistake shouldn't happen again. You don't see Obroni, then you are bowing yourself. No. Fort Metacross, it was built by the British in this coast, Western region. This is the crown of the Queen, Elizabeth. So anywhere they go, their fortification, they put their symbol over there. This is the crown. It is still there. If you go to this cove, it is there. Fort St. Antonio. This is the second oldest fort built by the Portuguese in the year 1515 in Azim, Western region. It's now 507 years old. UNESCO World Heritage Site on Google, you see them, 1979, they registered all the forts and castles. With the support of the Netherlands, they renovated this negotiation hall. Now, these are the slave bond, the neck shackle and the hand shackle as well.
So this is the original one?
No, for education purpose. Original one, we can't keep it there because the ions they use, you can't see some today. This one is just to represent. Well, let me end it here. Slave ship that sank in the Norwegian Ocean. Archaeologists discovered this ship in 1972 after the abolishment of the slave trade. They found a lot of items under the sea, but this is just a model for education. We can't put something original, they will steal it. So this is execution axe. What they used to kill the last batch of slaves, 15,000 blacks, on the Black Triangular Island in between South America and Caribbean Island. What happened was that on the journey, they heard the news. No more slave trade in Virginia. Bringing these people back to Africa is loss of business to them. And even Africa is far away. Keeping them till they cannot feed them. What will we use them for? Business. Yes. So every merchant decided to kill their slaves. And this was what they used. This one is a special neck shackle. You can see this one has an anchor, right? This anchor, it means that anytime our people are working the sugarcane farm or cotton farm, they have to wear it around their necks before they'll be working. Many people attempted to escape back to Africa because their parents told them, oh, you just go and come back. Not know. This is original ivory, a tusk of elephant. This one was discovered in archaeological research after the abolition of the slave trade. 206 years later, they discovered it. So this thing over here is very old, and that of the hippopotamus ivory. This is the branding tools. You can see how they chain our people with the branding. How our people are arranged on the ship. You know, they also equip them. The equipping came in the sense where most of them are fooling. It's not fooling. Anytime the wave of the sea splashes the water into the womb, it pains them, so they misbehave. But then through that too, they must be killed. These are the hand shackle. The bones over here from the archaeological excavation where they tested that the last meat ate by the slave merchants that they found is a particle of bones. So we are just representing the bones. So this is the real archaeologists with the ivory that they brought to Ghana Museums and Monument Board. Timber also been discovered, which tells us that they have taken a lot of species of timber from Africa, and this is being balanced. What is used to measure the speed of the wind on the sea also been discovered. They named this thing peace and love, but it wasn't peace and love. This true symbol. Anytime they bought a slave, they have to give invoice. By 500 years ago, pen was not discovered, ink was not discovered. What did they use to write? They cut the slave and use the blood of the slave, put a feather of a bird and then to sign the one who owned the slave, and they call it peace and love. So those people who died during the slave, their family traced them and sympathy with them. Well, abolition and emancipation of the Danish slave official. Like I said, they were the first people to abolish the slave trade with 30,000 blacks. After abolishment, our people decided to use comb shell for communication. Remember, when the Portuguese came, they didn't use any language for trading. It was a sign communication. They don't hear Tree, I don't hear Portuguese. How can we trade? We sign. So I give you my phone, you give me your check. And so it was a sign. So after the abolishment, people are still doing illegal slave trading. And a lot of people, not only Ghanaian, people are Togolese, Nigerian, Ivorian, miss out in the danger. So we have to use, once you hear the sound, then you know that let's stand for protest against illegal slave trade. Well, this comes to the end of the talk. Remember the history you share, not to go attack any Europeans. Okay, don't attack any European. It has happened and happened already. But we must to be wise this time so that this mistake shouldn't repeat again. Don't allow yourself to be taken for granted. No, enough of that. This is why we need the history. The history came to prepare the way, like how John the Baptist came to prepare the way for Jesus Christ. So it becomes a foundation for the future. If you don't know, how are you going to build the future? Thank you for coming.